So first off, thanks to each of you for your answers. Mr. Sherman, so you run the Maritime Industrial Base Program. Since 2018, you've received funding above, or not you, but the program, you've received funding above normal funding. So how much is it, and what's the return that we can tell our taxpayers?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. Since 2018, we've received about $6.7 billion that's focused on the 1+2 mission. And then I believe around $3.16 billion that's focused on submarine sustainment mission. Those have been focused in a handful of areas. As I mentioned, as we mentioned, supply chain uplift. What we've seen there, and that's where we started. 18 to 22 is focused on supply chain uplift. The statistics we have from the projects that took place were funded between 18 and 22, and together with that and the rising demand signal, we've actually increased the parts output from 16% of what is required in order to execute 1+2 to just over 40%. We have to continue to advance that, and you know the plan for the money that's in battery now that we haven't seen the results yet because it takes between 24 and 48 months depending on the type of project to really bring those things into battery. But 1,200 projects across workforce, across supply chain, and across advanced manufacturing are in battery, working to get our production rates better, sir.
You know what I don't get is I never understand how, with government, private companies can bid, not do their contract, and then somehow government's responsible for somehow putting up more money to get something done. It seems like if they bid for something, they know what employees cost. It's their responsibility to go get these employees, not government's responsibility. So it's never made sense to me. So let's talk about contracts. So every one of you have dealt with companies that have not performed on their contract. Do they have any negative? Did anything bad happen to them? Do they have penalties? What's the repercussions of not doing what they said? They're the ones who committed to it. You're not the one committed to it. I guess all of you have dealt with this, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you could just say, what's the accountability part of this?
Sir, I will just say when we choose a contract type, it is different for each type of ship that we're procuring and the circumstances. And so all of them come with various tools. Right? Obviously, cost plus is a different strategy. Fixed price puts more accountability on the shipbuilder. We have fixed price with share lines, which strongly incentivize them to have positive cost performance. Every contract has often a typical set of incentives that go along with that incentivize the shipbuilder to perform in schedule or other key program aspects. We hold the contractor accountable by first of all the profit that's associated with those, and sometimes with other measures, but it differs for each contract depending on what we're executing.
So, Admiral Rucker.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the question. I agree with my colleague, Admiral Moten. What I would also say is, in addition to holding them accountable via their profit and how much money they make or lose, we have had cases where vendors have not performed. One of our strategic outsourcing vendors, in which case we move the work from them to other vendors. So we do take action when we do see something that is affecting our production.
Are they responsible for any increased cost if you have to move it?
It goes back to what Admiral Weeks said, sir. It depends on the contract structure. So my answer is it depends. In some cases, they are fixed price contracts, which they are fully responsible. In other cases, it might be a cost contract, depending on if it's a development one or not. And so it depends on the amount of risk and how we share that risk.
Admiral Weeks.
Yes, sir. And I would add that in extreme cases, we can also withhold payments. So we do we'll retain some of the payments if the companies are not performing to the contract. So that is another tool that's in our inventory if we needed to use it.
Sherman.
Yes, sir. As Admiral Rucker said, we've had 17 suppliers where we've stood up additional suppliers where we were single source previously with the submarine industrial base investments. To fully address your question, sir, I would say that the direction that we are headed with these maritime industrial base efforts, with partnering across the submarine and aircraft carrier community, particularly in submarines, is to get to leverage competitive forces to get the best results, and both in terms of schedule and cost out of our industrial base. And as we build up the maritime industrial base, we are positioning ourselves to better leverage those forces.
Thank you. Senator Sheehy?